We're reaching the end of the marathon that is 2025, my friends. This is the final stretch. Are you ready? Things are about to get so good. We're going to talk about it today in this September 2025 energy update video. First, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hannah, and I help you to empower yourself. And today I'm going to be doing that by letting you know kind of what to expect this month energetically, so you can work with it in the most empowering way possible, rather than falling into despair, desperation, and victimhood. So if that sounds good to you, I look forward to diving in deep with you today. Theme number 1, and there are 7 themes that came up so far. Maybe there's more that will kind of unfold as the month goes on, but for now, we've got these 7 main themes to work with. The first and most prominent theme for September 2025 Ascension Energies is completion and endings. So if you are familiar with numerology, you will know that collectively this year in numerology is a 9-year, number 9. That's the highest number you can really go up to in numerology before the cycles resets. So what that means is that we are at the end of a cycle, in particular, a 9-year cycle. So we have this 9-year in numerology, and now we're in the 9th month. And then to make it even more potent, we're going to slowly be approaching, as I film this, the 9th day of the 9th month in the 9th year. And on top of all of that, it's 2025. I'm sure I don't need to tell you anymore. This has been an energetic marathon of the ages. And then also we are right smack dab in the middle of a very, very potent eclipse season. So all of these energies are coming together to create this perfect storm for cycle completions. So what does this look like for you? Essentially, for everyone watching, it's going to manifest in different ways, but what you can expect is that things that are no longer in alignment, whether they are people, places, patterns, jobs, etc., they're just going to fall away this month. They're going to fall away. There could be a little bit of drama around that, but I'm generally getting the sense that this is pretty drama-free for the most part. And it might be shocking because these are people, places, patterns, and jobs, etc., whatever it is for you that you have become quite comfortable, quite familiar with. And all of a sudden, they're just not going to be a match anymore. They're going to fall away. And normally we're conditioned to believe that this has to come with a lot of pain, a lot of drama. Not so much the case this time, because we have all of these supportive energies bringing about these endings. So you can expect endings. Likely you've already experienced them, especially last month, August, as we lead more and more into this month, into that the end of the eclipse season. More and more endings. And essentially, this is the completion of a very, very powerful cycle. And this is a cycle, I get the sense, this is not just about 2025. This is not just about the past 9 years. This is about the collective. This is about our ancestral lines. This is about our multidimensional selves, all these past life incarnations. There is this powerful completion point happening on all these different aspects and all these different layers right now. We can't even fathom it. If we were to fathom it, it would blast us out of this reality. We would go crazy. We wouldn't be able to wrap our 3D brains around this at this time. But just know that, yeah, these are endings for the ages. They're going to bring about a very powerful ripple effect that you might not be able to see right now. You might not know exactly what to expect. But what you can expect here is new beginnings as well. Very beautiful, very powerful, more aligned than ever new beginnings. We might not exactly be stepping into these new beginnings this month. That's going to come throughout the rest of this year and moving into the beginning of 2026. But you might start to have inklings of what these new beginnings could entail. You might get whispers of these new beginnings, these new energies that are now coming in. And yes, you can give yourself permission to get very, very excited about that. In fact, the more you're getting excited about these energies, what's actually coming in, the quicker you're going to draw it to yourself, the quicker you're going to align with said energies. But all in all, to be completely transparent with you guys, it's gonna be kind of an uncomfortable month. You're likely not going to feel 100% comfortable this month. You're going to be challenged in various ways. You're going to be tested in various ways. Essentially, we are still very much in this void energy right now, this transitionary energy, where we are letting go of all the things that are no longer aligned. We're letting go of all the things that are a part of the old cycles, the old identities, the old timelines. However, the new things haven't fully materialized yet either. And there could be some fear there for a lot of people that you're just going to be stuck for eternity. You're going to be lost for eternity. You're never going to break free from these cycles over here, these things, these demons, these old energies that seem to come up again and again and again. But no, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say it as many times as necessary until this really clicks with people. Anything that is coming up right now that feels challenging, uncomfortable, painful, puts you into a state of despair, this is dark energy trying to leave your body. This is that very cycle coming to a close. It basically has to be witnessed before it can fully leave your energy. So celebrate these things. Do your best not to get sucked in, attached. Look at these things, feel them, of course, but don't get hooked in if you can. Because if you get hooked in, you're gonna spiral downward. It might take longer to extricate yourself from these energies. But rest assured, it's happening one way or the other. It's just a matter of how smooth of a process you'd like this to be. The more you are getting sucked in, the more you're resisting the energies, the more challenging this is going to be for people. The more you can surrender, the more you can see it from a higher perspective and not get hooked in, you can keep a sort of distance, the easier it's actually going to be. And you might even find that it feels quite liberating, freeing for your soul. Point number 2 is creating healthy or healthier daily routines and routines. We are in Virgo season. Virgo season has a lot to do with daily routines and that sort of structure. But this, again, it's amplified. Everything is just so amplified this year. And this particular Virgo season also very amplified. So you may find that the daily routines that have been working for you up until now, they're no longer working for you. If there's something you wanted to adjust about your routine, you may find this month that it just becomes completely intolerable to be in the old energy again, the old routine, and something's got to give, something does give, and you need to make a change. You'd like to make a change. It feels good to make a change, even if that's uncomfortable. And essentially what's happening here, and this is going to become more prominent as we move toward the end of the year. It's been a theme this whole year, the past few years in particular. It's going to become more and more of a prominent theme, but it is balancing feminine and masculine energies, creating that yin-yang dynamic, that synergy, that harmony. So essentially what's happening here with the routine thing is when you are disciplined, when you do, the same thing every day, that is structure, that is routine, that is masculine energy, healthy masculine energy, as long as it's not becoming too suffocating, too inflexible. That's healthy masculine energy. So you're going to be called to balance your feminine and your masculine energies by creating this routine, this healthy masculine energy to hold, to contain your feminine energy. And know that all of us have feminine and masculine energy, regardless of gender identity. We all have both. We all have our own unique balance of what feels good to us, but we all have both. And so you can see, I always like to say, I see feminine energy as like this cosmic soup that's just floating into nothingness, and it's just very flexible, it's very fluid, very adaptable. And I see masculine energy as like a soup bowl. It basically gives structure to that feminine energy when you put the feminine in the masculine, it contains it in a healthy way. Otherwise, the feminine would just like float off into outer space. So it's necessary to have both the masculine and the feminine. And now we're really healing that. We're bringing harmony to that. A lot of people, particularly, I know my audience, I've struggled with this. Many of my clients and friends struggle with this because we're wounded as a collective with the patriarchy, which is not, it's like an imbalance of masculine feminine energy. It's overactive masculine energy. There's nothing inherently wrong with masculine energy. It's just what I would say the patriarchy is this, it's so much masculine energy that it has just become very unhealthy. And so we are all traumatized by this, whether you're aware of it or not. We are all individually, collectively traumatized by this patriarchy energy and the loss of our feminine energies. And so what happens a lot of times is that we resist masculine energy now because it feels almost restrictive. It feels abusive. We have this negative charge with all masculine energy because of the patriarchy. And so we want to just like be fully feminine now. But what happens is if you're fully feminine with no masculine, that cosmic soup, it's not really going anywhere. It has no structure. And this can lead to things like depression and procrastination, among other things, where you're just kind of looping in unhappiness and you're kind of stuck. You're not going anywhere. So we're going to start now reclaiming masculine energy in a healthy and balanced way. And it's going to start this month with routine. So that routine that you're going to start creating for yourself, that is going to be healthy masculine energy so that your feminine energy can flow more than ever before, so that it can feel safe, so that it can flourish. And it is through this flourishing of the healthy feminine energy that we're actually going to move into new earth. But we need to have that masculine energy in place in order to be in that healthy feminine energy. Otherwise, it's unhealthy feminine energy. So point number 3, September 2025 is also going to be a month of rest, reflection, and integration. And you may immediately get a bit frustrated, a bit triggered hearing that, because likely you're feeling like it's not the time for that. It's the exact opposite. Likely you might be feeling like you gotta do something. You're really in survival mode, wanting to be in that rat race, wanting to make a difference, do something different because things feel so intolerable. You don't want to get stuck in that loop. However, before we can really move into the new cycle healthily in a balanced way, we have to sit with the shadows. We have to sit with the discomfort. So this is the perfect month, at least the first few weeks of the month in any case. The dynamic's going to shift after the eclipse on the 21st. But the first few weeks of the month, it's going to be the perfect time to reflect on where you've come from, the patterns that keep coming up, reflecting on where you want to go moving forward, getting very, very clear on that, having focus around that, allowing yourself to feel any negative emotions that are coming up, channel that in a healthy way. If you're feeling angry, for example, you could channel that into a workout. You could channel into a piece of art. If you're feeling sad, just giving yourself permission to just cry it out, to feel it, giving a voice to these heavy emotions that we've been resisting and repressing. This is a very supportive month for that. And know that when you're taking the time to be with these shadows, you are supercharging yourself. You are skyrocketing yourself to this next level, which is going to feel much, much more supportive, much lighter, much more aligned. And so I will say, this is why we are working in my private community and mystery school, the House of the Spirit Dragon, with the Darkness Dragons this month. And as always, this wasn't intentional. I had this planned since the beginning of the year. I didn't know what to expect in September 2025, but it always ends up being aligned. Whatever dragon elemental we work with in the house, it's kind of perfectly aligned for the current ascension energies. And so the Darkness Dragons are going to be working with us this month in the house. They're going to give us extra support to be with these shadows and to break the cycle once and for all, to break the chains once and for all, so that we may fully, again, that word, this phrase keeps coming up, fully anchor into the new timeline, the new story, the new reality, the new identity, the new chapter, the new level, whatever you want to call it. It's a completely new, positive, unprecedented energy. But in order to get there, the only way out, as they say, is through. You have to go through the darkness, the shadows, the things, the resistances you don't want to look at. And the darkness dragons are the perfect companions, the perfect supporters for this process. So if you're not experienced in working with dragons, particularly darkness dragons, you'd like some support, or you'd like to just connect with other like-minded, like-souled people, get a little validation that you're not in this alone. We're all doing this together. We're all working in parallel with each other. I would invite you to join us in the house. It's a monthly subscription. You can cancel it anytime that it no longer feels aligned for you. And you will find the link to that in the description below, also on my website. Would love to see you there. And know that if you are seeing this in the future and you're like, oh man, it's not September 2025 anymore, I missed it, I really want to work with the darkness dragons, no stress, because we keep all the recordings from these live sessions in the house, and there's now a massive repository of esoteric information, activations, rituals, meditations, over I think like 150 hours or something at this point of work with different dragon elementals and shadow work practices, psychic ability development, etc., etc., etc. It's all there for you, available to you when you join us for the house. So point number 4, an increase of spiritual attack. And I don't want to frame this in a very fear-based, victim-y sort of way, because I see a lot of that in the spiritual community, and I don't want to perpetuate that paradigm of being like, oh, I'm being spiritually attacked, oh, poor me, I'm such a victim, oh, it's so scary, how do I protect myself? No, that is not my belief at all. However, that is also to say we don't just go la 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 and spiritually bypass and pretend these things don't exist, because they do exist. They really, really do exist. What I will tell you though, and what I want to be clear about up front, is they exist and they don't have to affect you. If you choose to be in your power, if you choose to radiate the light, the love, the wholeness, the fullness, the authenticity of who you are, these energies, they will just bounce right off of you. They do not have to affect you. They really, really, really don't. And I would say I am living proof of this. I have had so much spiritual attack in my life, both energetically and physically as well. And I remain unaffected, really. I remain unaffected. Of course, there's scars and traumas from some of these situations when I wasn't fully in my power, but each scary situation has kind of tempered me like a blade to really hold that light, that high frequency energy. And now I can tell you, I feel so confident about my vibration. I feel so confident to hold this high vibrational energy no matter what darkness is thrown at me. And so you will likely be tested this month, and know that it is a test. It's not there to make you feel like a victim and like, oh no, the world's against me, oh poor me. It's there to test you. Can you remain in your sovereignty? Can you remain in your power? Can you remain in your light? Even when it seems like the world is against you, when it seems like these energies are trying to take you down, because they can't actually affect you at the end of the day. And so I'm feeling called to actually share a little anecdote, a little story I had about this recently. So recently, I was talking to one of my one-to-one clients about this very concept of spiritual attack, and she asked like my view on it, and I said exactly what I've just told you guys now, which is I believe spiritual attack exists, but that it doesn't affect me because I hold my vibration high, and literally the darkness can't mess with me when I'm holding this high vibration. It just becomes light. It glances off. It dissolves upon hitting my light. And I said that, yeah, I used to deal with spiritual attack as in like psychic attack, shall we say, like demons, demonic sort of stuff, just these like dark energies, stuff in my dreams, stuff like that. I dealt with it a lot when I was a kid. but I haven't really dealt with that at all ever since I've grown up, I've become an adult. Now the spiritual attack that I deal with, it tends to be more like physical, actually physical spiritual attack, just like this video I'll link up here where I was like physically assaulted in what is basically every woman's worst nightmare. I was walking alone at night and some man physically assaulted me and tried to do other things. I'll leave that for that video if you want to watch that. But that's how it manifests for me as an adult, is this really intense, like physical spiritual attack. Now, ironically, a few days after having this conversation with this client, I was like psychically, spiritually attacked, very, very intensely. I was staying at a hotel, and so I was not in my turf, shall we say. I wasn't in my territory. I was staying at this hotel, and that night I was spiritually attacked. So I remember I thought it was so cool that this hotel, like my friend and I, we stayed in separate rooms. I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's so spacious. I feel so abundant being here. But in a way now, I'm like, okay, we were in separate rooms because it's like the darkness likes to separate the light, and it likes to like strangulate the light and make you feel isolated. And immediately, like when my friend and I split apart, I just felt this kind of like fear and this apprehension. And I was like, I don't know, this place, it seems like it could be haunted or something. But immediately I like shoved that aside. I was like, it's no problem. Spiritual attack doesn't bother me. If it's haunted, it's haunted. It's not a big deal. I can purify that light. Cool. It's not going to affect me. So I tell myself that. I fall asleep. And then I wake up and I am experiencing such intense spiritual attack, such intense psychic attack. I can't even breathe. Like I'm gasping for air. It is trying to suffocate me. It is trying to choke me. I feel like something is laying on my chest, trying to suffocate me, trying to choke me. And I just felt this dark energy, this dark presence all around me. I felt so much fear, so much survival mode energy, so much isolation, shame, guilt, all the darkest, heaviest vibrational emotions. They were all very present. And I was trying to like speak out and to invoke, let's say, the name of Jesus, shall we say, the name of Kuan Yin, like these ascended masters that hold this Christ consciousness energy, this high frequency energy that instantly when you evoke their name, it can dissolve the darkness. Trying to call in my guides as well, my higher self, anyone that was willing to support me with this. I was trying to invoke them with my words. Wasn't happening. I literally couldn't talk. I had such intense sleep paralysis. I couldn't move my body. I couldn't talk. I felt like I was being choked and I was gasping for air. So I kind of surrendered to that after resisting, fighting it for a little bit. And I'm like, hey, I remember that conversation with my client. I'm like, practice what you preach, girl. Practice what you preach. I was like, I don't even need to call in these high frequency sources because I am that. I am the same as these high frequency sources. I am the light, and I don't even need to say it. I don't need to speak anything at all. I just radiate that frequency and it will dissolve the darkness. So I brought awareness to my heart and to my breathing. And I allowed myself to connect to that portal of source energy. We are all connected to source always, all the time, even if we feel separate. But I reminded myself in this moment, because I did feel separate, like, hey, you are connected. Let's connect to that. So I connected with that through my breath, through my heartbeat. And I just imagined, I felt the more I connected in, the more I grounded in, I felt lighter and lighter. The fear started to dissipate. That survival energy started to dissipate. I just felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude, of love, of peace. And then I expanded it out and I sent it out of my heart space to this dark figure and basically dissolved, purified that dark figure. And then I really woke up. So it was like Inception style. If you've ever seen the movie Inception, where there's like a dream within a dream. So that was like kind of a dream, but also it wasn't. I know that it was reality, and sometimes like spirits, dark as like psychic attack kind of energies, they can do this where they take you to this in-between realm between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. And that's where I was like taken when this thing was like attacking me, because that's where it's most strong. It's not so strong in the physical realm, it's much weaker. And in the spiritual realm, same deal, because the spiritual realm is much higher vibrational. So it's like this middle realm where it has the most power. So it had me in that realm, and that's where it was like strangling me. Once I radiated enough light, boom, I was able to wake up and be back in the physical realm fully 100%. And there was still some lingering fear and some paranoia, some anxiety. I was like, oh, should I get my friend and warn her about this? Ask her if she's experienced the same. I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep again tonight. This is terrifying. This place was clearly like haunted or something. And I was like spiraling for a minute or so in fear and desperation energy. But yet again, I brought my attention back to my heartbeat, back to my breath, grounded the energy, connected with the light. And then all of a sudden, it was like all of those dark emotions, those dark, fearful thoughts, just gone. And I was like, yeah, I feel good. I could go back to sleep now. And I did. And I had a really good night's sleep after that. And then I woke up and I felt like a badass. I felt fully accomplished. And in reflecting on this experience, I can just say it was a test. It was clearly a test. The universe was like, hey girl, you talk about this, you talk the talk, can you walk the walk? We haven't tested you exactly like this in quite a long time. Can you hold the frequency of light? Even when you're like being smothered essentially by darkness. And I was able to. And so now it just reminded me like, yeah, we really do have that power. So I wanted to share that story with you guys to let you know that no matter how oppressed you feel, no matter how dark it gets, just remember your light. Connect back to your heart space, to your breath. Connect back to source through your intention. If you choose it again and again, and trust me, in this situation, I had to choose it again and again because the darkness, it was so aggressive. It was trying with my own thoughts, my own emotions to keep me in that lower vibrational state. I had to keep choosing, nope, I choose the light. I choose to connect to source. I choose to be stronger than this. And then immediately it clicked after that. So if spiritual attack comes up for you this month, remember that. Please remember this part of the video, and you know exactly what you got to do, and know that it's coming up to test you and to make sure you're ready for the next level of lights. It's essentially seeing if you can hold this frequency of light. This is a big theme that's going to appear in other ways, not just like very supernaturally through spiritual attack. It's going to show up in people and situations trying to bring you down to lower vibrational frequencies. And you are being tested now this whole month. Can you hold your vibration high, regardless of who or what tries to bring you down? That is the question, my friend. I will leave you with that. So on the flip side of this, point number 5, and you may find actually that you experience this as an immediate reward for overcoming point number 4, if it comes up for you, the spiritual attack. It's increased psychic abilities. So you may be finding that your psychic abilities are coming online like faster and stronger than ever before. In particular, the one that I always talk about is telepathy. This one's been so prominent for me this year and just gets stronger and stronger, and I absolutely love it. I have so much fun with it. It does not get old for me. It's that thing, right, where you're thinking of a person, they text you because they had the same thought. It was telepathy, and who knows who had the thought first, but it's like you guys are connected in that moment. This is happening to me on like greater levels, greater frequency. It used to just happen with people like really close to me. It happens with everyone now, and almost like daily. It's like really cool to see how that's unfolding. That's just my personal experience. It could manifest in other ways for you. I know that many of my clients that I'm working with right now, their psychic abilities, they are coming online like fast and hard. It's really cool to see where like, you know, they had no idea how to channel before, and now all of a sudden they're like spiritual gurus, you know, just talking to their guides every day as we do. Super cool stuff happening. So essentially, you're going to find that the veil between our world and the spiritual realm, it becomes very thin. It's easier to access your own innate psychic gifts if you choose to, if you are open to it. Know that if you fear your own psychic gifts, which I know many people do, then you will block yourself from developing those. And so a good test, if you're in this energy, is Do you fear spiritual attack? Are you afraid to communicate with guides or whatever because you don't want to invite in dark spirits? If so, there's probably some fear of your own psychic gifts in there somewhere. So you can call in the darkness dragons, do some shadow work over that this month, and it will dissipate. So point number 6 is increased creativity. You may be getting all the downloads, all the hits this month about just ideas for creative projects, businesses, things in your life, like things that you felt blocked in, stuck in for a long time. All of a sudden you just get this creative inspiration on how you can break that cycle once and for all. So yeah, like all the downloads are coming in this month, and you may feel the need to channel that through creativity. It is almost overwhelming, I sense, and I see this, I've witnessed this, I've personally experienced this. It's just like the degree with how much is coming in right now. And this is also a part of the energies, like you're getting a lot, and all of these downloads are going to kind of make you want to be like, oh, I need to move forward, I need to act on this and this and this and this and this, and it's going to make you want to speed up, when actually what we're being called to do is slow down, remember, integrate, rest. So what I would recommend is just keep a journal this month, or keep a notes file on your phone, and put all of these hits, all of these downloads in there. You can revisit that maybe at the end of the month after the eclipse season, when the energies, they open up again, and it's easier to have that forward momentum again. That would be a good time to act on it. Also, it might not be even then is the right time. It could be that around January 2026 is the right time. I feel that is also true for a lot of people. There could still be some clearing and things coming up the final few months of this year. But know that, yeah, keep note of these downloads that you're receiving right now. Know that you are super connected to the other side, and make note of these things, and you can revisit them when the energies yet again feel aligned. And I'll just say, I know for myself, like one thing is I have so many ideas for videos all of a sudden. I've had such a creative block around videos like the past year or two, where I'm like, I don't even know what to do a video about today, or I do, and then it comes time to film it, I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling this today. Now it's like the exact opposite. It's like when I first started posting videos, I have so many ideas for videos. I'm like, how am I gonna have time to film this all? How am I even gonna have time to write it all? Sometimes it's like I can't move my pen fast enough because the thoughts are coming so fast, the downloads are coming so fast, and it's really exciting, but it's also really overwhelming at the same time. But that said, yeah, like look forward to hopefully many new videos on my TikTok and on my YouTube, because I have so many ideas, so many things I'm excited to talk about and share with you guys. So finally, that brings us to point number 7. Point number 7 is that we are now, solidifying timelines. So likely if you've been following me for a while, or people like me, all of us in this like collective, we're talking about the timeline split, right? This ascension timeline split. This is a real thing that is happening right now. And what I have received, and I know others have received this as well, is that by the end of this month, after eclipse season is over, it is going to be a bit more challenging to shift between the timelines. So especially this year, the timelines have been so fluid, and likely we've been going woo, like in any given day, like hundreds of thousands of times you've been moving between like the lower timeline and the higher timeline. And this is why, for example, like you will just feel like really, really hopeless all of a sudden. And then like the next moment you'll feel really hopeful and have positive expectation. Know that when you're feeling hopeless, you're on the lower timeline. When you're feeling hopeful, you're on the higher timeline. And sometimes it's happening so fast, it's even happening simultaneously. So a specific example that has come through for me the past few months is like the twin flame concept has been coming up again a lot for me since July. And sometimes it's so confusing because sometimes At the same time, simultaneously, I feel so strongly that I will be with my twin flame and we will be reunited. We will be in union. And at the same time, I feel that we will not be in union and I will have to let him go and I'm meant to be with someone else. Both so strongly at the exact same time. What's happening in these situations if you have like this extreme cognitive dissonance where you know two things to be true at the same time, yet they seem to be opposite. They don't seem to be logistically possible. You are in both timelines at the same time. You are in two different timelines at the same time. We are multidimensional beings. We have that ability, that capability. As we ascend more and more, we're becoming more and more multidimensional. So we're able to be more places at the same time, simultaneously. We don't have to necessarily choose. So that said though, it's been this confusing energy all of this year in particular, where we're just moving between all of these timelines and it's very, very fluid. And that's a representation, right, of the feminine energy. Like I said before, feminine energy is that cosmic soup. It just flows and there's no boundaries, no structure. It's just all flowing together. That's kind of been the energy we've been in with the timelines this year. However, as on like a smaller scale, this masculine energy is now coming in, like in our routines, and it's providing structure, right? Same thing is happening on a bigger scale with the timelines. The timelines are solidifying. There's going to be more boundaries, more structure around the timelines. So that means it's going to become harder and harder to move between the timelines as we've been doing up until now. Now, I know a lot of people are going to hear that and they'll be like, oh my God, that's so scary. Oh my God, I'm going to get on the lower timeline. I'm going to get stuck there. Know that one, if that does happen, you can always get back to the higher timeline. Like you can always shift. It is just going to be a little more challenging, but you can do it. But I hear that and I just see so much positivity coming out of this, because basically what it means is if you are on like the higher timeline, it's going to be easier now to stay there. So yeah, like things could be going to shit in your personal life or in the world, but if you're on that higher timeline, it's going to be harder to get pulled into the low emotions, to get pulled into hopelessness, to fear, to victim mindset once you're anchored into that higher timeline. And so I would say that if you're watching this, likely you are in that higher timeline more often than not. You just simply wouldn't be able to perceive my content otherwise. So just celebrate that and be like, hey, choose that higher timeline again and again this month, because it's like we're being tested, we're being tested, we're being tested. And know that towards the end of this month onward, it's going to be so much easier to maintain that vibration, to stay in that higher timeline. That is something that's really exciting. That is something you get to celebrate. Also, what this can manifest like, and I've talked about this in other videos as well, is increasingly there's this zero tolerance policy for unaligned energies. So let's say you've been friends with someone for a very long time, or you've been in a relationship with someone for a very long time. You've had this family member for your whole life, let's say, and it's ultimately not an aligned frequency. It doesn't matter how long you've been together. If that frequency is unaligned, it's going to feel so intolerable this month and moving forward, and it's going to fall away because it is a remnant of this other timeline that's not a match for your frequency now. So just let it go. Let these people, these places, these things, these jobs, let them go. Know that you are being protected. Your guides, your higher self, the universe, God, source, they are helping you to align, to anchor, to realign with the timeline that you want to be on right now. So yeah, you're just going to find that there's a zero tolerance policy for things that aren't aligned. Follow that, embrace that, do not resist this, because this is going to make it easier if you're allowing this energy, you're working with it, to maintain that higher timeline when the end of the month comes around. And this also, it doesn't even have to be this big dramatic thing. That's another point I want to make again, is you might think, oh, like someone's not aligned. They're like a narcissist and I'm an empath and it's just not aligned. It's so toxic and oh, this other person's terrible. That can be a thing too, yes. But more so, I'm getting the sense that a lot of these connections, they're not even inherently bad. They're just unaligned. So you'll just notice, like, I'm just like not interested at all in the things this person is interested in all of a sudden. Maybe you used to be able to connect, but now it's like you speak two different languages. And so just recognizing that, recognizing when your paths are diverging from someone else, from a different place, from a different job, etc., etc. Like I said, it manifests in many, many ways. Just recognize that and just let it go and be like, all right, this is my path. I'm going to stay on my path. And I know when I reach the end of the month, it's going to be easier to maintain that path and I won't be tested as much. So I will say, if you are resonating with the stuff that I'm saying, if you're already noticing these energies, and if you're really like struggling, or even if you're not struggling and you're just like, I am so done, Hannah. I am so done with playing small. I am ready to anchor into this new timeline and I do not want to look back. Then I would offer to you to apply for my one-to-one mentorship, The Path of the Dragon Mage. So I am going to open a few more slots this month, maybe 2 to 3 slots this month, because I feel there are some people out there that might really need that one-to-one support right now, or just maybe not need it, just want it right now. Your soul might be calling for it. You're like, I want a guide. I want mentorship. And know that you're not just receiving it from me in this particular program, you're receiving it from the dragons. This is like a hardcore attunement, this program. It's like, if you're familiar with Reiki, how you get attuned, like Reiki level 1, 2, 3, 4, Reiki master, etc., etc. It's like that on steroids. Basically, you get attuned to all the different dragon elementals and even the golden dragons. And then you can work with all these elemental dragon energies with confidence, easily and effortlessly, and allow them to help you just literally glide, soar through these intensive ascension energies. And I can tell you, the gift that you receive by doing this work is you become unfuckwithable. It can be really hard, just like the spiritual attack experience that I described. That would shake a lot of people up and put them in fear of victimhood. But when you do this work and you're working on yourself and you're in your sovereignty, you're working with the dragons, this is what happens, is like that stuff doesn't even phase you anymore. You're just like, bring it on, bring it on. I know whatever life throws at me, I can handle it like a boss. I can alchemize it. If you want to be in that energy, this is the program for you. So you can apply. I'll leave the link in my description of this video. Also, it'll be on my website. You can find that anytime on my website. Would love, love, love to work with you if you're feeling called. So that said, I always got to ask, how many of these 7 points are you already noticing? And do you have like any more to share about your personal experience? I love reading this sort of stuff. I love seeing where the community, where the collective is at. Would love to hear your experience. And of course, if you're noticing any other themes that I didn't talk about, because there's a lot, there's a lot in flux right now. There's a lot of things happening right now. I didn't have time to address everything in this video, but I'm curious, what other things are popping up that you have felt are significant. And then of course, if you have any questions that you would like answered, I'm like on this kick now where I'm like super excited to make videos again. So please give me your questions in the comments and I will make note of those. And if I feel inspired, I may just make a video on that and answer that. So all that is to say, friends, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, for existing right now. I know it's tough. I know it's intense. Thank you for being you, for being alive, for being here, for being present with this video, for being present with me right now, for being present with the community right now. You are doing great work, even just existing. Your existence is a gift. So please remember that. Acknowledge the gift that you are. Know that I'm sending you so much love on your journey. I'm with you. The dragons are with you. Your guides are with you. You are so loved. You are so supported. Keep on keeping, my friend, and stay powerful.